Hey everyone, welcome back to the Deep Dive. You know, we always try to bring you the most important stuff in crypto, and today we're diving headfirst into a topic that's crucial for anyone involved in, well, pretty much every corner of the crypto world.
Mhm.
USDT, the stablecoin that, let's face it, has become like the lifeblood of so much crypto trading.
It really has.
And specifically, we're looking at how to buy USDT safely and smartly, especially on Binance's peer-to-peer platform.
Yeah, P2P.
Because let's be real, P2P trading on Binance is like this massive doorway to direct crypto trading, right?
Yeah.
Though it's at the middleman, gives you more control, and you can often find some pretty sweet deals.
Huh.
But, and this is a big but,
There's always a but.
there is, even with a platform as huge and, supposedly secure as Binance, there's been this alarming rise in scams, specifically targeting people trying to buy USDT through their P2P system.
Yeah, and that's what makes this deep dive so important.
Absolutely. Because if you're already using Binance P2P or even just thinking about it, you need to be armed with the knowledge to spot these scams and protect yourself.
Totally agree.
So that's our mission today, to expose those common scam tactics that are out there lurking in the Binance P2P world.
We're going to shine a light on them.
Exactly. And we're not just pulling this out of thin air, by the way. We've been digging deep into some really insightful research by Dr. Puyan Gamari. He's a Swiss economist, super sharp guy, who's really made a name for himself analyzing the digital economy. So we're in good hands in terms of expert insights here.
He really knows his stuff.
But before we jump into the scam tactics themselves, let's make sure we're all on the same page about what Binance P2P actually is.
Okay, so in the simplest terms, imagine it like a marketplace. But instead of, finding used furniture or concert tickets, you're trading cryptocurrencies. And it all happens within the Binance ecosystem.
Gotcha.
So the key thing here is you're not buying USDT directly from Binance, the company itself. You're buying it from another individual. It's like a direct user-to-user connection.
So it's like cutting out the middleman, the big exchange for these specific kinds of crypto trades.
You got it. And that's where the flexibility comes in that a lot of people find really appealing with P2P. You've got buyers and sellers coming together, and they can negotiate prices, payment methods. It's all about finding a deal that works for both sides. And we're not just talking bank transfers either.
Oh, yeah.
No, you can find people using all sorts of payment systems, like specific online platforms, sometimes even, believe it or not, cash deposits. And, of course, they can do all of this in their local currency.
That's a lot of freedom compared to, say, a traditional crypto exchange. But hold on, I have to ask. Binance is this, like, global crypto giant. Are they really just letting people trade willy-nilly on their platform with zero oversight? That doesn't sound like Binance.
No, you're right. They do have some safeguards in place, a pretty important one, in fact.
Okay.
They act as an escrow service.
Ah, that makes sense.
So think of it this way. When a trade is set up on Binance P2P, the seller's crypto that USDT we're focusing on gets locked up by Binance. It's
Okay.
basically held in the secure holding zone. And it stays locked up until the seller confirms that they've received the fiat payment from the buyer.
Right. So only once the seller says, yep, I've got the money, does Binance then release the USDT to the buyer?
Exactly. That escrow system is really designed to instill a level of trust and security into these direct peer-to-peer interactions.
So at least there's a system in place to prevent people from just running off the crypto without holding up their end of the bargain. But as you said earlier, there are these risks with the whole human element in P2P.
Yeah, there are, unfortunately, because you're dealing with individuals and people. Well, they can be tricky. And that's where Dr. Gamari's research is so valuable. He's really dug into the tactics scammers are using on Binance P2P, specifically targeting USDT buyers.
Right, so let's get into it. What are some of the most common ways these scammers try to pull one over on unsuspecting USDT buyers?
Okay, so one of the most prevalent scams out there, and one that Dr. Gamari highlights, is the fake payment confirmation scam. This one's all about deception.
Deception, yeah.
Basically, the scammer pretends to be a buyer who's super eager to get their hands on your USDT. They'll tell you they've sent the payment, and to make it seem totally legit, they'll send you a screenshot of a supposed bank transfer or payment notification.
But it's fake.
Totally fake. It's like waving a counterfeit bill in someone's face.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. These fake payment confirmations can be pretty darn convincing. They can mimic the actual look and feel of a legitimate bank or payment app interface, with logos and everything.
So they're putting a lot of effort into making these fakes look real.
Yeah, they are, unfortunately. And then once they've sent you that fake screenshot, they'll start piling on the pressure.
Pressure.
Oh, yeah. They'll be like, hey, I've already had the money. You should see it any second now. They'll try to rush you into releasing that USDT from escrow before you've actually had a chance to verify that the funds have arrived in your account.
Because they know if you wait and check, you'll see that the money's never coming.
Right. They're playing on that sense of urgency, trying to catch you off guard. And sadly, sometimes it works. The seller, thinking the payment's on its way, releases the USDT and boom, the scammer disappears with the crypto, leaving the seller high and dry.
That's brutal. So what's the key takeaway here to avoid falling for this fake payment confirmation trick?
It's simple, but absolutely crucial. Always, always double check that the payment has actually landed in your account.
Don't just take their word for it.
Nope. Go directly to the source, log into your online banking, check your payment app, whatever it is, but confirm that the funds are really there and available for you to use before you release that crypto.
So don't rely on screenshots, no matter how real they look.
Exactly. And another good practice is to use payment methods that are secure and traceable, like ones that leave a clear audit trail that can add an extra layer of protection.
Good advice. So fake payment confirmations. Got it. What's another scam we need to be on the lookout for?
Another nasty one that's becoming increasingly common is the chargeback scam. This one's a little sneakier.
Yeah, it's kind of like a bait and switch. In this scam, the scammer, pretending to be a buyer, might actually send you a real payment initially.
Okay.
And you, as the seller, seeing that the money's arrived in your account, legitimately release the USDT.
Yeah.
It all seems above board, but then, and here's the kicker,
What?
after they've received the crypto, the scammer goes to their bank or payment provider and initiates a chargeback.
What's a chargeback?
It's basically like saying, hey, this transaction was unauthorized, or I never got what I paid for. And in some cases, the bank will actually reverse the payment, taking the money back out of your account.
Even though you already sent the USDT.
Even though you already sent the USDT. So you end up losing both the crypto and the fiat currency you initially received.
Ugh, that's a nightmare scenario.
It is, especially since this type of scam often targets payment methods that have chargeback options built in, like credit cards or certain online payment systems. So it's like playing with fire if you're not careful.
So how can sellers protect themselves from these chargeback schemes? A good strategy is to try to favor payment methods that don't allow for chargebacks in the first place. Think things like direct cash deposits or certain types of stable payment systems that don't have this reversal feature.
I see. So it limits the buyer's ability to claw back the money after you sent the crypto.
Exactly. But look, I get it. Sometimes you have to use payment methods where chargebacks are possible. If that's the case, you've got to be super vigilant. Only release that crypto once you've got solid confirmation that the payment is final and can't be reversed.
What does that confirmation look like?
It might mean waiting a bit longer than usual, just to be safe, making sure the transaction's fully cleared and that the window for a chargeback has passed. It's also wise to be a bit more cautious when you're dealing with buyers who are brand new to the platform or seem, overly eager to rush the transaction.
Those red flags we always talk about.
Exactly. Trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is.
Okay, so be wary of chargebacks. Favor those non-reversible payment methods if you can. What's next on the scam hit list?
Right. So another one that Dr. Gamari talks about is fake seller scams. This one preys on people looking for a bargain.
Oh, those are dangerous.
They can be. Here's the setup. A scammer creates a fake profile on Binance P2P pretending to be a legit USDT seller. And their big lure. They'll offer USDT at a price that seems almost too good to be true, way lower than the going market rate.
The classic, if it sounds too good to be true.
It probably is. You got it.
And people still fall for it.
They do, because everyone loves a deal, right?
Yeah, of course.
So once a buyer shows interest in that crazy cheap USDT, the fake seller swoops in and tries to convince them to send the payment outside of the Binance platform.
Wait, so not through the Binance P2P system?
Nope. They might suggest using other peer-to-peer payment services like PayPal, Venmo, or even shadier, harder-to-track methods.
And I'm guessing once that buyer sends their money off the Binance platform,
It's gone, vanished. The scammer pockets the cash and disappears, never sending any USDT in return.
and because the transaction happened outside of Binance, there's no protection, right?
Exactly. Binance's escrow system, their security measures, all of that only applies to transactions that happen within their platform. If you go rogue and send money off platform, you're basically on your own.
So rule number one, it seems, to avoid this fake seller trap.
Always, Always keep the entire transaction within the Binance platform.
No exceptions.
No exceptions. It doesn't matter how tempting the offer is or how convincing the seller's story might sound. Stick to the platform, use the built-in escrow system. That's your safety net.
Got it. Stick to the platform.
Hmm.
But what about checking out the seller's reputation before you even consider trading with them?
Absolutely. That's another crucial step. Binance P2P has a built-in rating system, so you can see what other users have said about their experiences with a particular seller.
Like how trustworthy they are.
Exactly. Look for sellers who are verified by Binance, have a high number of completed trades, and most importantly, a solid track record of positive reviews.
What about the seller's rating itself?
Yeah, definitely pay attention to that and read the comments other users have left.
So you can get a sense of their trading history.
Exactly. It's not a foolproof guarantee, but a long history of positive interactions is definitely a good indicator that you're dealing with a legitimate seller.
Makes sense. And to reiterate that point from earlier, always be wary of those super low prices. If it seems too good to be true, it usually is.
Couldn't agree more. Legitimate sellers will price their USDT competitively, but they're not going to give it away for pennies on the dollar.
Okay, so we've covered fake payment confirmations, chargeback scams, fake sellers. What's the last big scam tactic we should be aware of?
All right, last but definitely not least, we've got escrow release scams. And this one is all about tricking you, the seller, into releasing that USDT from escrow before the buyer has actually sent the payment.
Hold on, I thought the seller had to manually confirm they received the funds before Binance would release the crypto. How do scammers even try to pull this off?
Well, they've gotten pretty creative, unfortunately. One common tactic is to create a false sense of urgency. They might claim that they've already sent the payment and try to pressure you, saying things like, hey, it's already on its way, you got to release the USDT now.
So they're playing on that impatience. Some sellers might have to close the deal quickly.
Precisely. They're hoping you'll skip that crucial step of actually verifying that the money has arrived.
That's devious.
It is. And they might even try to go a step further and fake payment notifications or manipulate what you see on the Binance platform to make it look like the payment's gone through when it really hasn't.
Wow, they're really trying to create this illusion of payment.
Yeah. It's a pretty elaborate scheme. And sometimes they even use social engineering tactics, trying to build rapport with you, make you feel like you can trust them, or exploit any eagerness you might have to complete the trade quickly.
So they're playing mind games on top of everything else.
Unfortunately, yes. And the end result is always the same. The seller releases the USDT without ever receiving the payment. They get scammed, plain and simple.
So what's the absolute #1 rule to avoid falling victim to this escrow release scam?
Never, ever release the USDT until you have personally verified through your own bank or payment service that the full payment has been credited to your account.
No exceptions.
No exceptions. Don't take the buyer's word for it. Don't rely on those initial notifications on the Binance platform. Go directly to your bank or payment app and make sure the money is really there and available. And be super suspicious of anyone who tries to pressure you into releasing the USDT quickly. That's a huge red flag. A legitimate buyer will understand that you need to verify the payment.
Makes sense. It's like that old saying, trust but verify.
Exactly. It's kind of a shame that we even have to talk about these scams, but the reality is they're out there and they're targeting real people every day. Binance provides the platform and the escrow service, but ultimately the responsibility for staying safe falls on the user.
You got to be your own advocate.
Absolutely. And that's what we're trying to empower people to do with this deep dive.
Yeah.
By understanding these common scam tactics, those fake payment confirmations, those chargeback schemes, the fake sellers trying to lure you off platform, and those tricky escrow release scams, you drastically increase your chances of trading safely on Binance P2P.
Knowledge is power, right?
It really is, especially in the crypto world.
So I think the big takeaway here is that P2P trading offers a lot of freedom and flexibility, but it also requires a higher level of awareness and caution than maybe some other ways of buying crypto. You can't just assume everything's on the up and up. You've got to verify everything, be skeptical, and always stick to the platform's rules and procedures.
And if something feels off, it probably is. Trust your instincts.
Great advice. Well, this has been an eye-opening deep dive for sure. It really highlights that even on a platform as big as Binance, you can't let your guard down.
Yeah, vigilance is key in this space, for sure.
Absolutely. And it makes me think, as the crypto world continues to grow and evolve, what other kinds of risks might pop up that we need to be aware of?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it?
It is, because the scammers are always trying to stay one step ahead. So here's a final thought for you, our listeners. What other potential risks might be lurking out there, beyond the specific P2P scams we discussed today? And how can we, as a community of crypto users, be proactive in protecting ourselves and each other from those future threats?
That's something for everyone to think about, for sure.
It is. Stay vigilant out there, everyone, and thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
Thanks for having me.